Welcome to Chargers Talk 4630. I am previewing upcoming game this weekend between the Miami Dolphins and the Los Angeles Chargers. And there's two key things that I want to discuss throughout this podcast. That is injuries and moments. Remember, moments. Let's get started. This is Stacey, Chargers Talk. A whole lot happening around the league, and especially with the Chargers. Miami fell to 1-4 last week after losing to the Carolina Panthers 27-24, and that was a game that showed you everything that's wrong with that team right now. They look lost, they look confused, and it's starting from the top down, right? From the head coach all the way through the locker room. It feels like this team has lost confidence in everything they do. There's no leadership, no energy, and at times it looked like some of those guys don't even want to compete on Sundays. They're trying to downplay it, but losing Tyreek Hill is a huge deal. That offense is not the same without his world-class speed. Tua doesn't look like the same quarterback. The play calling looks cautious, and they can't stretch the field the way they used to. Everything they did ran through Tyreek Hill. He's the guy that made safeties play deep. He's the one who created the space for everything underneath, and now it's all gone. Now, pivoting over to the Chargers, man, they look good early on. They started off perfect 3-0, and all three of those wins came within the division. That gave them a nice little cushion in the AFC West. But these past couple of weeks, they've been taking it on the chin. It's been pretty rough. They've got to get Justin Herbert back to playing at the level he was in those first three games, because right now he's under fire every single drop. But listen, it's no secret. The Chargers have major offensive tackle issues. They've got significant injuries up front, and it's showing. Every time Herbert drops back, you can feel that tension, like you're just waiting for someone to break through the line, right? He's taken 35 hits in the last 3 games alone. That's not sustainable. I'm honestly starting to worry about him because the way his body twists and contorts when he's getting sacked, that's the kind of punishment that adds up real fast. He only threw 1 interception all last season, and this year he's already thrown 4. And it's not because he's playing worse, it's because he's constantly under duress. He's been pressured 85 times already this season, the most in the NFL. And when he's under pressure, his passer rating drops all the way down to 49. That's not a Justin Herbert problem. That's a protection problem. And to make things worse, he's now without Amari and Hampton for 4 weeks after they already lost Najee Harris. That's 2 physical running backs who could not only grind out yards, but also pick up blitzes and protect the quarterback. Najee was really good in pass protection, and that's something people don't talk about enough. Those hits Herbert is taking, that's where they miss Najee the most. And here's the scary part. The Chargers are starting to wear down in other areas too. They can't protect Herbert. And when he's your leading rusher in a game, that's never a good sign. In that loss to Washington, the Chargers ran for 155 yards total, but 60 of those came from Herbert scrambling. That tells you everything. The designed runs aren't working. The backs aren't getting lanes. It's Herbert running for his life and trying to make something happen. And defensively, they can't stop the Commanders' run either. They gave up 163 yards on the ground, 111 of those to Jacquay Merrick, 2 rushing touchdowns, and they couldn't contain Jaden Daniels, even though he was wearing a knee brace. It's like every time they fix one hole, another one springs open somewhere else. But all of it, every bit of it, starts up front. The offensive line that looked like a strength in the preseason has completely decimated. Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater are both hurt. They're on their 3rd left tackle, their 2nd right tackle, and their 2nd right guard. There are even rumors they may bench their captain and their center, Bradley Bozeman, for veteran Andrew James. So there's no continuity, no chemistry, no rhythm, and that's showing up in the penalties too, right? 24 penalties in the last 2 games, 9 more than they had in the first 3 games combined. That's discipline, that's focus, that's communication, all slipping away. And that's not what you expect from a Jim Harbaugh coach team. We thought this team was going to be tough, physical, gritty. We thought they were going to punch people in the mouth and dominate in the trenches, right? But that's not what's happening. They're too banged up to run that style of football now. And because of that, they don't have an identity. What they really wanted to be and what they actually are right now are 2 completely different things. And when you combine that with turnovers, penalties, and protection issues, you get exactly what we're seeing. A team that's sliding backwards after a very strong start. Now, if you look at Miami, they've got their own set of problems too. And honestly, theirs might be even worse. They ran for only 16 yards last week. 16. You can't even call that a running game. And on defense, they're giving up 174 rushing yards per game. That's awful, right? So while both these teams are hurting, Miami's hurting a little deeper. They can't run the ball. They can't stop the run. And they lost that edge that made them dangerous, right? Now let's get back to the Chargers, because even with all these issues, they still have the quarterback to turn it around. Justin Herbert can fix a lot, but he can't fix everything. You can't ask him to carry this team with a broken offensive line and no running game. That's not fair to him, and it's not sustainable. And here's what's frustrating. The Chargers are losing games that are still winnable. In both of their recent losses, it came down to just a few key moments. Remember that key word, moments. Every game comes down to 2 or 3 plays. That's all it takes. You make those plays, you win. You miss them, you lose. Against the Giants, they were down 21-18 and had a chance on the final drive. Herbert throws a perfect ball across the middle, dropped. That's a first down that puts you in range for Dicker the kicker, who's hit from 60-plus before with no problem. Instead, you get a false start, you take a sack, and the drive falls apart. Moments. Remember what I said, moments. Against the Commanders, it was even worse. The Chargers were up 10-7 with under a minute left in the first half. The defense forces a punt from deep in Washington territory, in fact, from the end zone. Ladd McConkey takes it 57 yards to the house. Touchdown Chargers, right? Chargers go up 17-7 heading into halftime. Game probably flips right there. But then Marlo Wax gets called for roughing the punter. Touchdown wiped off the board. Washington keeps the ball, drives down, kicks a field goal to tie it 10-10 at the half. Another moment gone. Another moment gone. Moments. Those are the kinds of plays that separate good teams from the ones still trying to figure it out. You can talk about injuries and depth all day, but when those moments come, when the game is hanging in the balance, you've got to make those plays, right? Moments. Moments. And that's what's killing the Chargers right now. They've lost sight of those moments. They're letting games slip away through their fingers because of the mental mistakes and lack of execution. And that's not something Harbaugh can fix in a playbook. That's got to come from within that locker room. See, the good teams, the playoff teams, they're always consistent up front. They've got 5 offensive linemen who played together all season. They got defensive lines that stayed healthy and played in sync. You look at every contender, and that's the common denominator. And right now, the Chargers just don't have that luck. So this next game is massive. You lose this one, and you drop to 3-3. So I know a lot of you out there, when I say this, your eyebrows are going to raise, but I'm telling you, this next game is massive. You lose this one, you drop to 3-3. You're in second place in the division, and suddenly the cushion you built early is gone. You win this game, you're 4-2. You're still in control, and you quiet a lot of the noise. The Chiefs are going to be fine. We know that. Their history tells us that. The Broncos are getting a lot better. There's no time to waste. People will say, it's still early. It's only week 6. There's a lot of football left. Nah, you only get 17 games. That's it. 17 chances to show you belong in the playoff tournament. And after Sunday, there'll only be 11. Chargers, look, this is a moment here in week 6. Nobody around the league cares or going to feel sorry for your injuries. There's 31 other teams that's dealing with just as many injuries as you are. Ask Baltimore. Ask Baltimore about injuries and how it's affected them. Ask a team you're about to play about injuries and how it's put a damper on their season with how they like to play. Look, you got the quarterback. You got the coach. But now it's about execution, discipline, and heart. You got to protect Justin Herbert. You got to find your offensive identity and win those 2 or 3 key moments that will decide games. Moments. Do that, and this season can still be everything you want it to be. Fail to do that, and you'll be looking at another long, disappointing season with more questions than answers. Now, I want to close with this. If I can offer any advice, I've been a fan of 49 years now. I've been here through the disappointments, the ups and downs, and one of those guys that was always believing we're going to win this game because we just have the better team, right? So hear me out, Charger faithful. Stop thinking games are won just because the other team looks weak. That's how you get humbled in this league. We just went through that 2 weeks ago with a team that was playing bad in all phases, and they were 0-4. And we were playing great. Experts was predicting a possible Super Bowl and had Herbert in the MVP conversation. So we were confident and couldn't wait to play him. Then we had that humbling loss to a bad team with a first-time starting rookie quarterback. So understand this. There are no guarantees. There are no moral victories and no wins on paper. You got to go out there each and every week and earn it. Every snap, every drive, every quarter. Wins are made between those white lines, not in predictions, not in comments, and not on social media. They won on the football field. So no matter what the records say or how good or bad the team is playing, you have to do one thing: play better than that team between those white lines on that one day for 60 minutes. In the past, I've made the mistake of guaranteeing wins when actually it's not going to be me, it's not going to be you, or no expert analyst that decides who wins this game. It's how the team play on Sunday that will decide who wins. I think that's sound advice coming from someone who's been around far too long to know better. So let me know what you think. Drop your comments and thoughts in the chat. You can also hit me up on X at retiredn2699.